What's up, everyone? Reunification Day is coming up, and while we would love to have stayed in Hanoi to be able to cover the parades and celebrations for you, we have prior commitments, and so we're making this ahead of time to address an interesting aspect of the celebrations as they've started ramping up. As you may have seen on social media or other places online, these celebrations are putting this particular flag in the forefront. A bicolor red and blue flag as opposed to the full red background of the national flag. This is the flag of the NLF, the National Liberation Front. So let's pop one on the bike and go for a ride and try and understand a little bit of context. The year is 1954. The French have an ever-weakening hold on French Indochina as a result of the Japanese invasions during World War II and the subsequent fighting over the next 9 years with local revolutionaries. The Americans were still occupying Korea, Japan, and the Philippines, with many troops in southern Cambodia. Because as these examples show us, once your country has a case of the Americans, it can be a real tough one to kick. Anyway, in 1954, the Vietnamese shit-kicked the French in the Battle of Dien Bien Phu, effectively establishing full control over the entire northern region, returning to peace talks in Geneva for the aptly named Geneva Accords. It was established that nationwide elections, including both northern and southern territories, would take place within 2 years. The puppet government of the South, so really the Americans, put this dickhead in charge, Ngo Dinh Diem. Many of you will likely be familiar with this image, though I feel like context has been lost over the decades. This monk did this to himself in an act of protest against the Diem regime and his American backers, this dickhead, and plenty of others. Anyway, the whole thing with elections is that you can never be exactly certain which way they'll go, but we can be pretty darn certain that any election held would have been in favor of Ho Chi Minh and rejoining the North. Or maybe not. Perhaps if those democracy-loving Americans had their pet go through with the elections, we would know. As such, the Americans, and by extension Diem, refused to hold the elections, promptly breaking the Geneva Conventions and returning both sides to a state of war. There's never ever enough time for all the context, but this will have to do for now. So first I want us to take a look at this map. This shows the places that were most targeted by American bombing. Notice that a majority of it is not in the north. Despite modern framing, the majority of American involvement wasn't fighting the PAVN, the People's Army of Vietnam, often incorrectly written as NVA or the North Vietnamese Army. Most of the fighting was targeting local Southerners who wanted to join the Socialist North. Now, this is where the NLF comes in, not the NFL, the much cooler NLF, though both have provided ample traumatic brain injuries, I'm sure. It's important to keep in mind that the NLF was not an explicitly Marxist-Leninist organization. Anyone could join as long as they believed in independence and were against American imperialism. And they were founded in 1960, with this being the outline of their political program for those who want to pause and read. It's also important to stress the autonomy of the organization. In the book Last Night I Dreamed of Peace, Dang Thuy Cham recounted how political education of the peasants was done by local cadres, in local dialects, not by party members or army members from the north. 2025 marks the 50-year anniversary of reunification and the defeat of the American Empire in Vietnam. And as such, it has been decided to put a larger focus than in previous years on the integral role of the local Southerners in the overthrow of their regime. Oh my god, I almost forgot the part that I was most looking forward to talking about. The Viet Cong weren't real. That was a term made up by the Diem regime, and no one actually went by it. Viet is obvious in meaning, but Cong is used in words like Cong Dong, community, Kong Se, partner, or Kong San, communist. It was used as a slur to paint all of these fighters in being infiltrators from the north, which was a fiction. They actually referred to themselves as the Quan Zai Fong, or the Liberation Forces. Anyway, glory to the NLF, pride in the PAVN, and happy reunification and liberation day to the free, independent, and unified Socialist Republic of Vietnam. Oh, and happy Labor Day to fellow proles. Catch ya!